All right, man, there was a lot of games on last night, and honestly, man, I would talk about the Los Angeles Lakers losing by 1 point and LeBron James dishing out to Cam Reddish for the win. That definitely made me really sad to watch last night, considering my king did that. But there was one game last night that really got me talking and really got me thinking, which was the Brooklyn Nets versus the Milwaukee Bucks. And this game was crazy, man. Let me tell you. The so-called Giannis Antetokounmpo versus Cameron Thomas face-off is so crazy that we're even talking about this, man, because Cameron Thomas a couple of years ago was not even getting consistent minutes. So it's so crazy to know that he's in this position. But when it came down to the wire in this game, the Brooklyn Nets just did not have a good opportunity, man. Their team was just not good enough, man. Mikal Bridges did have a very good night with 31 points, which definitely was a huge show off from him. But obviously the big name we're talking about here is Cam Thomas. Him dropping 45 points in 41 minutes is something that needs to be discussed a lot more, because he did this. Wasn't it toward like the end of the season last year that he dropped like 3 40-point games in a row or something like that, making like NBA history or something like that? So literally Cam Thomas, just this young blood, isn't he literally like 22 years old also? That's a whole nother thing, man. The bro's like 22 years old and doing all of this, dude. So I have to give my props where it's due, man. This kid is really punching out. Pretty much the whole game was summed up in like the third quarter, where Cam Thomas got the ball with like 2 seconds left on the shot clock and literally chucks it up from the Brooklyn Nets logo with Damian Lillard kind of guarding him. He wasn't really guarding him. He can't play defense like Drew Holiday, so it doesn't even matter. But he barely got a hand up, and bro literally drained it from like 35, 36 feet out, which, man, like just having that look, dude, with just complete disgust and just not even giving a crap about anything, man, just literally said it all about this team, dude. Not to mention that they're 0-3 at home, man. They've pretty much won like a good majority of their games on the road so far, which is not a bad thing. You want to be a great road team. That's a good part. But if you can't win your games at home, man, that definitely is an issue, especially come playoff time if you do make the playoffs, which personally, I do have them making the playoffs. I do think they are like a fringe 7th, 8th seed in this league. I think Mikal Bridges definitely can bring this team into contention for a good first round exit. I'm trying to be serious in this video, man. Of course, you have Cam Johnson out, and that's going to be like that for a little bit. And you do have Spencer Dinwiddie not really playing up to snuff, which is not what we like to see, considering Spencer Dinwiddie used to average like 22 a night. So the fact that he is at least not averaging 17 is kind of crazy to me. I don't know. I mean, especially with this team where you would think that he would have all the more opportunity, especially with not being alongside freaking Luka Doncic. Like, it would make the most sense, but that just hasn't been the case. What makes this game even funnier, though, is the fact that Damian Lillard shot 5 for 15, 2 of 8 from 3, dude. That's a whole nother thing that we need to talk about. Like, I'm not just gonna talk about Cam Thomas, because obviously, like, the Brooklyn Nets team, they're a fine team, but it looks like a lot of it is trying to revolve around one guy. And here's the thing, if you're allowing Cam Thomas to chuck up all these shots, granted he's making them, so I can't necessarily sit here and complain if he's making them, but there have been nights where he's missed a lot of those shots. Like, there was a shot that he took, I think it was toward like the latter half of the fourth quarter, where he literally chucked it up from deep, trying to go on like a hot streak, as you would call it, and he completely missed everything to the left side of the basket. And I'm like, why would you ever take that shot if you knew that you were going to miss completely left? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. See, the reality is, man, the 22-year-old's decision-making definitely is going to come with time. I mean, he's only really been in the league for about a good 2 years at this point, even then with not really getting that many minutes to begin with. So it's so hard to really judge this guy on what he's done so far. Even if we saw it a little bit last year, he can be inconsistent. He can go on hot streaks. It does happen. He's not like any of those consistent players like a Luka Doncic, where he can consistently average 30 to 35, because that's what Luka's going to be doing this year, and he's going to be putting up those numbers consistently alongside Kai. Now, Mikal Bridges did put up 31 points again, so I mean, that is really solid. You love to see that it's not just Cam Thomas putting up 45 and then everybody else is veering off in maybe the low 20s, high 10s. So that does say something, but then again, man, I don't know, bro. There's just a lot that I could say about this. Giannis dropping 36 on 15 of 27 is just as good, if not better, than what Cam Thomas did, in my opinion. He impacted more of the game of basketball. He was a plus 15 on this side with 2 blocks in the game as well. Cam Thomas cannot block shots for the life of him. That is for sure. Obviously, the one that really capped this game altogether to end it for the Bucks was Chris Middleton, man. He was getting into his spots toward those clutch minutes at the very end, and he was making sure that he was dropping dimes by all means necessary, man. He was really impacting the game at the very end with a +9 for sure. So he definitely was the reason why they won their game. Dame really didn't show up at the very end. Giannis was obviously like the guy, but like Chris Middleton basically was the one that was facilitating all of that and really making it happen for them to really stretch that lead enough to where they can win the game. So props to the Bucks, man. Adrian Griffin knows what he's doing, dude. He knows what he's doing. Obviously, there was some controversy toward the very beginning with training camp with Terry Stotts and him yelling at coaching staff. But honestly, man, he's a great coach. He knows what he's doing so far. Let's hopefully see if he can put it all together with more games coming up, especially against better teams, because they haven't really faced great teams yet. So we'll see how it goes. But man, what do y'all think about the Brooklyn Nets, dude? I mean, the thing is, Ben Simmons is the only all-star, and I put that in quotation marks because he's not really an all-star anymore. He put up 2 points last night and 12 boards. That's not all-star caliber. Why are we going to praise that? But this team, especially if Ben Simmons does improve, I mean, obviously you have Ben Simmons there for defense, so that's the reason why he's playing, and he does play great defense. He can actually do that. But the thing is, man, I think with this team, especially if Mikal Bridges or Cam Thomas, I mean, some people have Cam Thomas in some of their All-NBA predictions right now, which is, I mean, I can't blame them, but then again, they're not winning games, so it's so hard to really judge Cam Thomas doing all this and them not winning games. It's essentially putting up empty stats, which I don't necessarily appreciate. I just want to see this team succeed, man, but honestly, you're not going to really get much of anywhere if Cam's going to be dropping 40 a night. I'm going to say it.